In this lesson, we will practice graphing parabolas whose vertices are not right at the origin. Now, we know that the original parabola that we learned about in middle school or freshman year was y equals x squared. All right, so that was your nice normal parabola that looked like this. Okay, this was the first parabola you ever learned. So that was y equals x squared. That means if you see x squared, that's a normal parabola, all right, upward facing. We learned that if it had a negative in front of it, like negative x squared, then that had the effect of turning it upside down. Okay, but either way, if you see x squared, you know it's either up or down, depending on if it's positive or negative. On the other hand, if you see something strange that you haven't seen before, if you see y squared instead of x, that's new. That means it must be a weird sideways parabola like this. If it's positive, or if it's negative, that would mean it's sideways to the left. Okay? But either way, if you see good old x squared, that means it's either up or down. But if you see this strange new y squared, that means it's going to be sideways. Okay? So look at problem number 1. Okay? So the first thing you have to decide is whether or not it's up, down, left, or right. What do you think? All right, I'm hoping that you said down. This one is going to be down. And let's go ahead and write that down. This one's going to be down. And the reason why is because right here, all right, just ignore the -2 for a second. What I have here is x squared, all right? So that's normal x squared. So I knew it would either be up or down. And because of this -12, that means it's going to be down. All right, so fine, I know it's going to be down. Now, the other thing you need to be aware of is the standard formula, the model for these parabolas. And the model works like this. We will have x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k. All right, and in a situation like this, the vertex will be h comma k. So it'll just sort of be the opposite of these two numbers. So we figured out that it's down. So our next move is to find out what's the vertex. So I'm basically saying to you the vertex is going to be the opposite of the x number and the y number. So this will be 2 comma -1. So the vertex, might as well write it down, the vertex will be 2 comma -1. And we also might as well graph it. So we have 2 comma -1 is right here. That will be our vertex. And we know that it will be facing down. Now, the next step is to find this p value that's mentioned in the function here. Now, we know that 4p, maybe I can do this off to the left here. We know that 4p is going to equal the -12, right? So if I divide by 4, that gives me p is equal to -3. That tells me where to put the focus. So if this is the vertex, and I know I need to go down, well, now I know to go down 3 from here, not from the x-axis, from the vertex. So if I go down 3, that means my focus is right here. So we might as well record that too. That's 2 comma -4 is our focus. 2 comma -4. Now, the directrix is a line that's going to be on the opposite side of the vertex. So if I go 3 down, that's the focus. So if I go 3 up, that will be my directrix. So 3 up from here, so that'll be right here at 2. So this will be my directrix. Okay, so I've got my focus and my directrix. So I just need 2 more points to finish this graph off. So let's get them. Oh, by the way, the directrix, see, horizontal lines always have little equations, y equals a number. And it's at 2, so the directrix is y equals 2. Now the focal width. The focal width comes from this number, the 4p number, the number in front of the unsquared part. You do not include the negative sign, so widths can't be negative. So the focal width is 12. The focal width means the width of the parabola at the focus. So if this is the focus, and it's got to have a total width of 12. That means it's got to be 6 to the left and 6 to the right from here. Okay, so 6 to the right will be over here at 8, and 6 to the left will be over here at -4. So that gives me 3 points to graph, with which to graph my parabola. So I can go ahead and draw the parabola now pretty well, and it's going to look like this. Okay, so there is number 1. All right, the more I do, the faster I'm going to go. So try to keep up. So on problem number 2, first of all, is this up, down, left, or right? This one is to the right. Okay, I'm noticing that y is squared, y squared. That's unusual. The first one we learned about was y equals x squared. So x squared is normal, up and down. Y squared is sideways. So I knew it was either going to be left or right. Because it's positive, it's to the right. Okay, now the vertex. So look, you can sort of look at this as x minus 0 or x plus 0, doesn't really matter. So when we do the vertex, just be very careful. The x coordinate of the vertex has to come from the x. It doesn't matter that this is on the left. All right, so this 0 is the x coordinate of my vertex. And remember, we're doing opposites, so the y coordinate will be -1 from this. Okay, so there's my vertex. And I'm going to graph it. So 0, -1 will be right here. So vertex. Next, I need the p-value. Okay, so my p-value, this is going to the right. So, well, I know that 4p is equal to 8. So that means p, if I divide, p is equal to 2. That tells me where to put the focus. All right, remember I'm going to the right. So now I know I'm going to go to the right 2, starting from the vertex. So to the right 2 puts me here. So that's my focus. If I go to the other side, that tells me my directrix. So the directrix must be 2 to the left over here. Okay, so here's my directrix. All right, now I need my other 2 points to complete this graph. I guess I should write some of this stuff down. So my focus was the point 2, -1. My directrix, vertical line is always x equals a number. So that's x equals -2. All right, now the focal width. The focal width is this number, the 8. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to go at the focus. I need a total width of 8, so that means 4 up and 4 down from here. So 4 up will be here, and 4 down will be here. All right, so that gives me all the information I need to go ahead and draw my parabola. All right, so there's number 2 in all of its glory. All right, number 3. Okay, is this one going to be up, down, left, or right? This one is going to be up. All right, I see it's x squared. All right, it's like y equals x squared. That's normal. All right, and it's positive. Notice this minus 1 over here has nothing to do with whether it's up or down. It's just the 4. And that's positive, so it's going to be up. Okay, now the vertex. All right, it's the opposite of this one and then the opposite of that one. So the vertex is going to be -1, comma 1. All right, now I need the focus. So I need the p-value. So look, 4p is equal to 4. So that means p is equal to 1 if I divide. So that 1 tells me where to put the focus. I forgot to graph the vertex first. Okay. So my vertex is at -1, comma 1. So -1, comma 1, there's my vertex. All right, now my focus is going to be 1 up. All right, that's why I always write this word down to remind me. My focus will be 1 up from here. All right, I almost feel like I better zoom in because this is going to be a tiny graph. Okay, so my focus is 1 up. That means my directrix will be 1 down, which will actually put it on the x-axis. All right, so I've got my focus and my directrix. Now I need my 2 other points. At the focus, I can use the focal width. The focal width is 4, so that means I'll have to go 2 to the right and 2 to the left. All right, and you see that gives me a total focal width of 4. And then that's the information I need to go ahead and draw this thing. Okay, pretty good. Let's see, so the directrix is actually y equals 0. The focus is -1, comma 2. And the focal width, I believe, was 4. Yep. All right, so that was it for number 3. Look at number 4. Well, I see it's y squared. All right, that's unusual. We're used to y equals x squared. So if the y is squared, I know it's the sideways one. So it's either left or right. And I see that the 16 is negative, so that makes it left. Okay, all right, x squared is normal. Y squared is weird. So this is left. Now, the vertex. So I'll leave it like this. The vertex, now make sure you put this in the correct order. Even though the y is over here on the left, the x coordinate still comes from the x. So it's going to be -2, comma 5. Not the other way around. -2, comma 5 for my vertex. All right, and let's go ahead and plot that. It was the opposite of this and opposite of that. So -2, comma 5 is right here. All right, next I need that p-value. Well, guys, I knew that 4p is equal to this -16. So if I divide by 4, that gives me p is equal to -4. That tells me where to put the focus. Now, remember I said left. So this tells me to go 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my focus, which is at -6, comma 5. Okay? As soon as you do your focus, you go in the opposite direction and do your directrix. So the directrix is going to be right here. Okay, now I just need my other 2 points to make this graph. Oh, by the way, so the directrix, that was at x equals 3, as you can see. Now, the focal width is 16, so I might as well write that down. If the focal width is 16, so that's the width at the focus, for a total of 16, I need to go 8 up and 8 down. So that's going to take me off the grid. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be right about there. So that's 7. So okay, I had to go off the grid for this one. That's all right. We've got to be flexible sometimes. Okay, so there's number 4. All right, number 5. This one looks a little short, but we'll worry about that later. First of all, is this up, down, left, or right? Hopefully you see that this one is to the right. Okay, the y is squared. That's the opposite of what we're used to. So that means it's one of the ones that's sideways. And since it's positive, it will be to the right. Now we need that vertex. See how there's nothing being added or subtracted? That means this must be like x plus 0. And same with the y. This must be like y plus 0 squared. Okay? So if you just see a y squared or an x, those are zeros in terms of the vertex. So this one is at the origin. It's just 0, 0. Okay? So fine, there's our vertex at 0, 0. Now we need our p value, which I'll just do right here. So we know that 4p is equal to 10. So if I divide both sides by 4, I'm going to get, let's see, 10 divided by 4, that's 2.5. Okay, so 2.5. Now that tells me where to put the focus. Now we know it's going to be to the right, so we will go 2.5 to the right of the vertex. So the focus will be there. That means the focus is 2.5, 0. Okay, now the directrix should be in the opposite direction. So it should be 2.5 to the left. All right, so there's my directrix. And that is vertical, so I've got x equals negative 2.5. All right, now I just need my other 2 points. And for that, we'll use the focal width of 10. So my focal width is 10. So that means at the focus, the width is 10. So that means 5 up and 5 down. All right, so if I go 5 up and 5 down, then these are the points that I need. Okay, so there you go. That's number 5. Okay, number 6. Is this up, down, left, or right? Well, I see x squared, all right, so that reminds me of good old y equals x squared. So I know it's either up or down. Because of the negative on the 4, I know it's going to be down. All right, notice this minus 1 has nothing to do with it. It's all about the 4 being negative. So I know it's down. Now I need the vertex. Opposite of this, opposite of that. So -3, comma, +1. All right, so there's my vertex is at -3, 1. Now I need that p-value to get the focus. So I know that 4p is going to equal -4. That means p is -1. So that means I'm gonna go 1 down, like we said. Okay, so that puts my focus there. That means my focus is -3, 0. All right, the directrix should be the same distance in the other direction. So my directrix will be right here. So by the way, that's y equals 2. Okay, now for my last couple of points, I need the focal width. The focal width is 4. Do not include the negative sign. So the focal width is 4. So if I want a focal width of 4, that means I need to go 2 to the left and to the right. All right, so that allows me to draw the parabola. Okay, so that's number 6. Okay, looking at number 7. Is this up, down, left, or right? I see y squared. That's the unusual one. We're used to y equals x squared. Okay, that would be up. But y squared is sideways. And since it's positive, it will be to the right. Okay, now the vertex. The vertex is going to be the opposite of this and this. Please make sure that the x coordinate comes from the x part of the equation. So the vertex will be +1, -1. It's the opposite of both of these. So the vertex will be +1, -1. Go ahead and graph that. 1, -1. Now we need that p-value. Well, we know that 4p is going to equal this 8. So if I divide, that means p is equal to 2. Now, that means I'm going to go 2 to the right, like we said. So starting from here, if I go 2 to the right, that means my focus, this is my focus. So my focus is 3, -1. Now my directrix should be in the opposite direction. Okay, so if I go 2 in this direction, it puts me here. Okay, so there's my directrix, and that's x equals -1. All right, this stands for focal width. We're going to need that next anyway. The focal width is 8, so there you go. The focal width, so that tells me the width of the parabola at the focus is 8, which means I need to go, from the focus, I need to go 4 up and 4 down. Okay, and then I can just draw it from there. Okay, that is it for number 7. Number 8. Okay, so for number 8, is this up, down, left, or right? All right, I see the x squared, all right? And the first parabola we ever learned was y equals x squared. So that's looking normal to me. So I know it's going to be either up or down. With the negative on the 12, that makes it down. This has nothing to do with it. So I know it's going to be down. Okay. Now, I need the vertex. Well, it'll be the opposite of this and then the opposite of this. Remember, this plane y is like having y plus 0. All right, so this will be a 0. So it'll be positive 2, comma 0. So that's my vertex. So 2, comma 0. Let's go ahead and graph that. All right, 2, comma 0 is right here. Now we need that p-value. And we know that 4p is equal to this negative 12. If I divide by 4, that means p is equal to negative 3. That tells me where to put the focus. Now, remember we said it will be down. So we will start at the vertex and go down 3. So the focus will be here. That's 2, comma negative 3. Now the directrix should be the same distance to the other side. Okay, so what did I say? 3, so I'll go up 3 like this. And so my directrix will be here. Okay, so that is the line y equals 3. Don't just put 3, by the way. It's got to be y equals 3. Now, the focal width is going to be 12. All right, focal width comes from right here. Please do not put negative. A width cannot be negative. So the focal width is 12. That means here at the focus, the width is 12. So that means 6 to the right and 6 to the left. If you counted this up, that'd be a total of 12. That's the focal width. All right, and then we can just go ahead and do the graph. Okay, there you go. That was number 8. Let's look for number 9. Okay, so next, once again, we ask ourselves, is this up, down, left, or right? All right, well, I see we've got y squared here. All right, what we're used to is y equals x squared. That was the first parabola we ever met. Y squared is sideways. So it will either be right or left. Now, because it's got the negative on here, it will be to the left. All right, notice these signs inside the parentheses have nothing to do with that. Okay, next we need the vertex. It will be the opposite of this one and then that one. Make sure your x-coordinate comes from the x part of the equation. So negative 1, comma 1, opposites. Negative 1, comma positive 1. So there's our vertex, so let's graph it. Negative 1, positive 1. Okay, next we need that p-value. So look guys, 4p is equal to negative 16.
Please excuse this interruption. Juniors and seniors, if you are checking out at 12:30 and you have your checkout notes, you need to exit the building and not walk around the hall. You need to go on and leave. Thank you.
Okay. It's a little crazy out there. We found a p-value of negative 4, and we knew it would be to the left. So we went 4 to the left of the vertex here. Now we need those other values next. Well, I should write this down. So that's negative 5 comma 1 for my focus. Now the directrix will be in the opposite direction. Okay, so I went, 4 to the left, so I'm going to go 4 to the right. All right, so there's my directrix, and it is at x equals 3. All right, vertical lines are always x equals. Now the focal width, is 16. Do not include the negative sign. And that tells me where to put my other two values. So looking at the focus, the width needs to be 16. So that means 8 up and 8 down for a total of 16. All right, and that allows me to draw the parabola. Okay, and there you go. That was number 9. All right, last one. Let's take a look at number 10. All right, one more time. Is this up, down, left, or right? Well, I see it's x squared. All right, that's the normal one that we're used to. The first graph we ever saw was y equals x squared. So I know this will either be up or down. Because it's positive here, then I know it's going to be up. Okay, next I need the vertex. Notice a plane x squared right here. This is just like having x plus 0 squared. So this is a 0. So this is going to be 0 comma negative 1, opposite. So that's my vertex. So 0 comma negative 1. Go ahead and graph that. 0 comma negative 1 is my vertex. Now we need that p value. And we know that 4p is equal to 12. So if I divide by 4, p is 3. Now, I said it would be up. So I'm going to do up 3 from the vertex. So 1, 2, 3. So there's my focus, 0 comma 2. Now the directrix will be in the opposite direction. All right, so instead of up 3, my directrix will be down 3. So my directrix is here. Okay, by the way, that is the line y equals negative 4. All right, don't just put negative 4, put y equals negative 4. Very important. Now, we're going to need this focal width anyway next, so might as well write it down. Focal width is 12. All right, that gives me the width of the parabola at the focus. So that means right here the parabola must be 12 wide. That means 6 to the right and 6 to the left. Okay, so that allows me to draw my parabola. All right, and that is it for number 10. I hope this video was helpful to you. I will see you on the next video.